Kenya wept, Africa held its breath, and
hey! Habari zenu!
The silence was heavy and deafening, because it wasn't just the death of any man. This was Raila Amolo Odinga, the people's president, the champion of democracy, a man who carried the hope of a nation for more than 4 decades. Obama's silence raised questions, whispers, and debates across the continent. Why hasn't he spoken? Where is Barack Obama's message? How can he be quiet when Kenya is mourning? Because Raila was just a leader, he was a family. Yes, Barack Obama and Raila Odinga are cousins, linked by blood through their Luo ancestry. 2 sons of Nyanza, 2 men born from the same ancestral soil of Western Kenya. 2 men who walk different paths but carry the same fire: justice, equality, and hope. Obama, who rose to become the first black president of the United States of America. Raila, who became the Kenyan's prime minister and a symbol of resistance against dictatorship. Together, their stories shaped the imaginations of millions, from Nairobi to New York, from Bondo to Washington. So when Raila took his final bow, people expected Obama to speak immediately, as a cousin, as a friend, and as a statesman. But 2 days passed, and the silence grew louder. Kenyans online flooded X, Facebook, and YouTube. Why is Obama quiet? Does he fear politics, or is in deep pain? The debate went viral, trending hashtags, heated arguments, and emotional pleas. Some said the silence was disrespectful. Others argued it was deeply personal because Obama and Raila shared just not history but also blood. They had met before. They had spoken about democracy, leadership, and the future of Africa. Obama once described Raila Odinga as a symbol of the new Africa, brave, visionary, and unbreakable. So why wait for 48 hours? Was Obama under pressure from the global politics? Was the US cautious about the message? Or was it that this loss hit closer to home than the world could imagine? Maybe it wasn't a silence of neglect, but a silence of grief. Because for Obama, this wasn't just a Kenyan tragedy. It was personal, a chapter closed in the books of his own family history. The man who inspired him to believe in the African democracy was gone. And then finally, Obama broke his silence. Obama wrote, and I quote, "Raila Odinga was a true champion of democracy, a child of independence. He endured decades of struggle and sacrifice for a broader cause of freedom and self-governance in Kenya. Time and again, I personally saw him put interests of his country ahead of his own ambitions. Like few other leaders anywhere, he was willing to choose the path of peaceful reconciliation without compromising his core values. Through his life, Raila Odinga set an example not just for Kenyans, but across Africa and around the world. I know he will be missed. Michelle and I send our deepest condolences to his family and the people of Kenya." It was powerful. It was presidential. It was deeply human. But it also arrived late. And that timing left the world divided. Some said the online pressure forced Obama to speak. That after 2 days of trending outrage, he finally acted. But others saw something different. A man who needed time to process the loss of somebody he truly respected. A man who wanted to speak not from politics but from pain. Whatever the reason, when he spoke, the world listened. Because those words, champion of democracy, example for the world, came from one global icon to another. Obama wasn't just mourning a leader, he was honoring a legacy. Both men knew the cost of leadership. Both understood the loneliness of standing for truth when it's unpopular. Obama admired how Raila Odinga could lose an election even when the odds were unfair, and still choose peace over chaos. That choice, Obama said, made Raila Odinga not weaker but stronger. It showed his greatness. Raila Odinga was Kenya's conscience. He stood for democracy even when it costed him comfort. He fought for other Kenyans, not from power but from principle. He was mocked, betrayed, detained, and yet his heart remained unshaken. And now even in death, his name still commands respect, not just in Kenya but across the world. Obama's message reminded the world of that truth, that leadership is not about how long you rule but how deeply you serve. That greatness is not in titles but in sacrifice. His story will not fade. He was not perfect, but he was real. He made mistakes, but he never gave up on the dream for Kenya. That's why Obama called him a true champion of democracy. Because Raila embodied what democracy means: resilience, patience, and unwavering belief in justice. From the streets of Kibera to the corridors of State House, his influence remains. From Kisumu to Washington, his name carries weight. And even in his passing, he unites the voices of both powerful and the powerless. Obama tribute may have come late, but it came right on time for history. Because sometimes silence is not absence. Sometimes silence is reflection. And when the words finally come, they echo forever. Today, Obama's voice joins millions mourning Baba, not as an American president, but as a Kenyan son, a cousin, and a brother. A man paying tribute to another man who changed the destiny of a nation. Raila Odinga may be gone, but his dream of freedom, unity, and democracy will live forever. Farewell, Baba Raila Amolo Odinga, the people's president. Barack Obama has spoken, but history will never stop echoing your name. Rest in peace, Baba Raila Amolo Odinga, former Prime Minister.
Hey! Habari zenu? Wakenya, Impio. It is great to be back in Kenya. Thank you so much for this extraordinary welcome. I know it took a few years, but as president, I try to keep my promises. And I said I was going to come, and I'm here. So, and everybody, go ahead and have a seat. I'm going to be talking for a while. Relax. I love you back. I do.
America has always had warring narratives. I mean, a lot of American history is a war of ideas.
Right.
And you know, I gave a speech, probably the speech that is closest to my heart that I gave throughout my presidency was the speech I gave on the 50th anniversary of Selma, the March on Selma over the Edmund Pettus Bridge. And you know, I talked about that clash being as important as Gettysburg or Appomattox. You've got on one side John Lewis and a ragtag band of Pullman porters and maids and clergy and a couple rabbis and college kids, and they're marching from one side, and on the other side you've got folks with billy clubs on horseback and fire hoses and dogs and all that. And what John Lewis represented was the narrative that says we the people means just what it says.